Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final Fate prototype novel. We have here Volume 5. Again, this is one that we have been commissioning. I've been commissioning through my good friend Trafalgar Log. And so this is our first time giving it a read. And so we will be reading this. And I'm excited because this is the conclusion, right? We're finally getting the full story of Fate prototype Fragments of Sky Silver. And from that, we'll kind of have everything done, which is real exciting, right? Once again, this is a first draft, so I will be making edits as I go along. So with that said, let us get going. So we have here the cover. We have the other cover. So yeah, I was always confused why there's two covers. And it took a bit of research to learn that there's like the cover they released with and then the one they re-released with. There's actually two different ones. So, Volume 5, right? Originally translated by Phoenix Rising and formatted on here by Thanawas Her, but now we're reading the new version by us, and we'll get that all done here. So let's go. The dead cannot rise. Things once lost cannot return. Even the greatest miracle can only make a difference for those still living. In the end times, we find new salvation. The holy city shall appear once more. Oh, the whole city. The kingdom accepts all. From yonder tide, 7 heads and 10 crowns will appear. Wait, hold up. Wait, I know this. I know. Wait, whoa. Isn't that friggin' Mother Harlot? Uh-oh. O sinful one, thy name is adversary, thy heart is avarice. Thy jubilation shall rot into blasphemy and blow away. With the miracle of omnipresence as foundation, let us use this paradox as proof of our Lord's lost love. Huh. Fate prototype. Fragments of Sky Silver. Night of Fate. Okay. Somewhere on the seashore in a place like a cafe. Wait, hold up. We've seen this in the trailer. Yeah, okay. In the video. Okay. A Western song that was popular several years prior echoed through the air. There weren't any radio cassette players or record players in sight, so it must have been playing through the building's speakers. It was the theme of an American movie that also wound up being a hit in Japan, too. The female singer's vibrant vocals combined with the thoughts of the adventure of boys looking for pirate treasure depicted in the film, wait a sec, made listeners' hearts race. Is this the Goonies? Even among the people enjoying the peaceful afternoon in a cafe, a few of them had visibly brighter expressions as a result of the song. Hold up. Movie about boys looking for pirate treasure. I assume it's the Goonies. I'm gonna Google this just off screen here. Movie about boys finding pirate treasure. Is it? The Goonies. Okay, so the Goonies soundtrack. What music would it be? Let's see here. Wherever You're Going, It's All Right by Cyndi Lauper. The Goonies Are Good Enough by Cyndi Lauper. It might be that. It might be Cyndi Lauper. The Goonies Are Good Enough. Okay. 8 Arms to Hold You by Goon Squad. I Got Nothing by The Bangles, maybe. Okay. Well, now I'm just curious. Huh. All right. I've never seen The Goonies. I tried to watch it, but then I saw the freaky guy, and I'm like, that scared me as a kid. I forget his name. You know the one. Anyways, but the two seated at the window table had another reaction entirely. Why the Holy Grail? Well, which is saying that, I wonder. One was a young girl, probably her. She showed no sign that she even heard the flowing melody. Clad in an emerald green dress, she was the definition of grace. Her refined demeanor as she held her teacup, her serene expression, everything about her seemed to suggest a detachment from the world of the mundane. One could hardly imagine that she'd recognize popular movies or Western music. It was difficult to even imagine her inside of a crowded movie theater. If anything, it seemed more likely for her to screen black and white films in her mansion's projection room. Her name was Seijo Manaka. As of one day in February 1991, she became recognized by the Mages Association and by the Holy Church as the victor of the Holy Grail War. Wait, hold up. We are in 19... Okay, it doesn't say the year. Okay. Okay, but yeah, as the victor of the Holy Grail War, likely having secured both the lesser and greater grails brought forth by the cardinals. If she, if she completed the ritual using the underground greater grail, the girl would have her wish granted. Okay, so this is before that. Seated across from her was another figure. A man, a young man. Judging by his blonde hair and blue eyes, he appeared to be a foreigner. A human. No, not quite. He was a being that was assuredly beyond human, with magical energy, physical strength, abilities, and characteristics far surpassing any ordinary creature. In essence, he was a humanoid weapon, one that could likely outclass even the most refined modern weaponry that human history had to offer. The sword he wielded could cleave all things in two, and very few could escape its grasp. He was a heroic spirit, more precisely, an entity known as a servant. Legends, mythology, fantasy, mere figments of the imagination, mankind's collective dreams. Through the power of the Holy Grail, they are made manifest. Some call them the pinnacles of mystery, and they did indeed have qualities that would warrant such a title. As he held his cup of coffee, his attire was black. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty certain we've seen this exact scene in that, this was like the end scene of the grand, Carnival Phantasm OVA, right? When he truly manifested as a pure heroic spirit, he was clad in blue and silver. He was a sky silver knight, the greatest of the servants summoned by the Holy Grail and his master, Manaka. His class was Saber. He was silent. Silently, he kept listening to the words spilling from the girl's lips. He was not listening to the Western music playing over the speakers, even as the customers at other tables smiled with nostalgia, laughing together at the fact that just a few years prior they had dreamed of a... Okay, wait, yeah, 90s. It's an 80s movie. That would make sense then, right? Laughing together at the fact that just a few years prior they too had dreamed of going on adventures like the film's protagonist, he felt none of the cheerful atmosphere. The girl and the young man, they faced each other at a table that seemed cut off from the rest of the world. No such barrier was actually in place, but they were enveloped in such a total sense of peace and tranquility that it felt like there was. They were at the end of something, the conclusion of the bloodbath carried out by 7 servants in the far eastern city of Tokyo, or perhaps it was the faint premonition of the ultimate end that lay even beyond that. To perform miracles, to grant wishes. If magecraft is wonderful enough to do that, wouldn't a more peaceful ritual be better? The girl, Manaka, spoke. A remark as casual as the acknowledgement of a radio broadcast. Saber? She called his name. Yeah, we saw this exact scene. Bro is not looking pretty excited for obvious reasons. Even if it wasn't his true name, even if it was only a word that denoted his class during a temporary manifestation, it was a name which referred to him as a servant. Because of that fact, the girl's eyes glistened as she spoke. A blush spread across her cheeks. Anyone would realize it. This girl. This delicate flower must have been in love with him. That's right. The Holy Grail doesn't require blood, Saber replied softly. I've heard that it was meant as a vessel for gathering people's wishes. A miracle cannot be observed in its true form. When it is filled, the Lord's glory overflows from it. Ha! But that's backwards. You're saying it won't activate without a whole bunch of wishes? Manaka laughed, as if her beloved had suddenly made an unexpected joke. In truth, their conversation was far from some sort of light-hearted tea-time banter. The underground saint graph hidden in Tokyo, the existence of an imitation Holy Grail brought forth by the Church, was an undeniable reality. At that very moment, as the Holy Grail War drew to a conclusion, would the omnipotent wish-granting device truly activate? Could the ritual of the Greater Grail and its symbol truly reach the root of all things, as the Holy Church claimed? Or perhaps... Something flickered in Saber's eyes. His azure gaze, reflected far more than just the smiling girl that sat across from him. In that instant, he closed his eyes, drawing his focus toward his own memories. The sky silver night recalled the remnants of the heroes that had been scattered across Tokyo. The Holy Grail War ritual. A battle to the death between 7 factions, 1 master and 1 servant in each. The fury and might of the servants are unprecedented, the reenactment of mythology itself. It is only natural that the scale of battle and its repercussions tend to expand. But, make no mistake, the Holy Grail War is not solely about combat. Do not forget that the true reason the Mages Association chose to respond. Do not forget the true reason the Mages Association chose to respond to the Holy Grail's call. That's interesting. Imitation Holy Grail number blank blank blank. Okay. An object that could be argued to be the greatest of all holy relics is at the core of the ritual. In other words, it is the ultimate ambition for us Magi to reach the swirl of the root. The Holy Church. As a certain cardinal once plainly put it, the Holy Grail is an omnipotent wish-granting device. The Grail only activates as such after the souls of the 7 summoned heroic spirits, souls whose miraculous, seemingly impossible forms are imbued with immense magical energy and mystery, are offered to it. Yeah. We don't even... Wait, heroic spirits, souls with miraculous... Go miraculous and seemingly impossible. Yeah, because then we already have a comment there. Heroic spirits are not merely weapons. Indeed, their combat abilities are a crucial aspect of the Holy Grail War, and yet they are just one singular element. Oop, too far up. In the ritual of the Holy Grail War, the heroic spirits act as the ultimate catalysts. To have our ambition fulfilled, to reach the root, we must feed the souls of the 7 to the Holy Grail. The fact is an undeniable one, and yet must also be treated as the greatest secret, shared only between the Holy Church and the Mage Association, since we summon them with lies, telling them we will grant their wishes as well, despite them being mere catalyst. Wait, since we summon them with lies, telling them that we will grant their wishes as well, let's make this a bit more, despite them being mere catalysts. This is a bit of an R. I get what it's saying here. Since we summon them with lies, telling them we will grant their wishes despite... You know what? Let's make this just one, right? That they will grant their wishes as well despite... Instead of let's go with them. Despite them being mere catalysts. Right? Yeah, because they are. The secret must be kept. Let's try this again. Since we summon them with lies, telling them that we will grant their wishes as well despite them being mere catalysts, their secret must be kept. That's much better, yeah. Or perhaps, if your desire is not to reach the root... Hey, typos happen. That's how you know that... Hey, you know what's nice? You know what's really nice? I mean, I should never cast out because I trust this Trafalgar log quite a bit. You know, we've talked a lot about our stuff. But, there's always a little bit of worry where I'm like, man, can you imagine if I'm paying someone to do this with, like, ChatGPT or something? Not to say that I actively believe that, but in this age, there's always doubt. It's little things like that that really prove to me, like, no, this is absolutely done for real, right? That was actually something I actually had issues with at first. I was looking for someone to help me do the translations, and there was a couple where I'm like, I looked at their work and I'm like, oh my god, you clearly machine translate. This sucks, man. But no, it is nice to get that real confirmation. Anyways, or perhaps, if your desire is not to reach the root, perhaps only 6 souls might suffice. But I believe that any who read this will be of my lineage and harbor our grand ambitions, so I will speak no further. We still don't know whose book this is. Once more, take heed. Combat and conflict are but a single facet of the Holy Grail War. For example, even if you defeat 4 of the 7 servants, keep your own servant and recruit 2 more to your side, well, that sounds familiar. The Holy Grail War as a ritual would not be over. Cast the 7 servants, or the souls of 6 servants, into the Holy Grail. Kill every miraculously summoned heroic spirit for the sake of another miracle. That is the essence of the Holy Grail War. Yeah, I'd say, like, you need to either send all 7 or the souls of the 6. Yeah. Yeah. An excerpt from the old notebook. And if you need that last one, you can just say, kill yourself at the end. Light. Radiance. Scorching heat. A memory replayed in Saber's mind. The first and last place that they had met were one and the same. The Reirukon Manor in Suganami Ward. Berserker had carried out repeated assaults on the Reirukon Manor, which was likely to have been the base of operations for Castor and his master. Its goal was probably to defeat the Castor faction, but in the end the Mad Beast was eliminated from the Holy Grail War. Saber's first impression of it was an unexpected one, a raging beast. It evoked memories of past battles, or realistically, the roaring beast chronicled in legends about the King of Britain. The distorted demonic beast with its serpent's head and neck a lion's body and deer legs, a colossal beast of the forest that roared with concentrated hate and malice. Berserker seems strikingly similar in his eyes. Now, is that the one that we read about, the hunting beast? Serpent's neck. Yeah, oh yeah, this is, because people pointed out, you know what has a serpent's head and neck, lion's body, and deer legs? A giraffe. And that's what they think that the hunting beast was meant to be. Bro had that Akiha neck. A monstrous aberration which hated and envied everything in sight, fangs poised to strike. Standing before the young child who seemed to be the Rayrukan's daughter, it opened its massive jaws and advanced with sharp, hooked claws. It was truly a demonic beast, one worthy of being confronted by his blade. It's funny because then you look at what they used for hide in FGO and you're like, damn, this kind of sucks in comparison, huh? And, well, you know what? Difference is assassin versus, right? Assassin versus Berserker, because he's not no. He becomes Berserker, though. So he should... Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's still stupid. I wish we got this instead, but oh well. I want to see giraffe version of him. It was truly a demonic creature, one worthy of being confronted by his blade. And yet, as they clashed several times within the Rayrukan Manor's dark forest, Saber's perception of the creature began to shift. Actually, I'm really curious what it looks like. I wonder if... You know what? I'm going to look it up on the, I'm going to look up on the wiki here. Let's go, Jekyll FGO, because, or Jekyll Fate, because I bet you it exists on the wiki here, where I can take a look at it. Let me see. Oh, very cool. Guess what? Friggin' fandom.net is down. Oh, very cool. I can't even look at the pages. Can I look at the pictures? No? Are you serious? Okay, let's go Jekyll Fate manga. Let's see here. Does he exist in the manga? Give me a moment here. All right, well, I took a look and there's like 0 things online of this form. Like, all it says is it just describes it as him with claws and fangs. It's like, oh, I guess we don't know what he looked like, but all right. Sounds good, right? Anyways, standing before the young child who seemed to be the Rayrukan's daughter, it opened its massive jaws and advanced with sharp, hooked claws. It was truly a demonic creature, one worthy of being confronted by his blade. Also, the manga just hasn't got there yet, apparently. I don't know, I thought it was going well, but I guess not. It seems to be releasing very slowly. And yet, as they clashed several times within the Rayrukan Manor's dark forest, Saber's perception of the creature began to shift. He has deliberately lost his sanity. He was certain of it. With every fiber of its being, down to its very soul, the beast strove to exist as a mad beast. Whether it was to win the Holy Grail War, or to fulfill a wish, its ultimate goal remained hidden, but the fact that its madness had been deliberate was evident. Fitting for the Berserker class, which was ranked second among servants, it served as both a powerful guiding principle and a useful weapon. For the greater cause, it cared not if it was branded as evil. Those eyes, with a will of steel behind them, felt familiar. Agravain. How strange it is to recall you now. Recalling the profile of a Round Table Knight who was once his subordinate and comrade, Saber defined the existence of the mad beast within himself. It was no mere beast. No demonic beast, no massive malice, no embodiment of desire. It was a proper servant, one that had manifested in the world wielding its power with purpose. Of course, Agravain had neither the appearance of a beast nor the violence of one. It was merely a matter of essence. The light of will that he glimpsed deep within its eyes bore a faint resemblance. That alone was enough to bring him certainty. Even discounting his confidence in his battlefield instincts, he felt certain of his judgment. This did not mean a dialogue with his opponent would be possible, nor did it mean that he could allow his sword to falter, cease hostilities, or hold back. The situation allowed for no such thing, and yet, he believed that the opponent was worthy of a battle fought with pride, not to be hunted as a beast. That was why, when the time came to fight once more, he desired a one-on-one duel. This is my fight. If possible, I'd prefer it if you didn't interfere. But that wish went unfulfilled. Though it was Saber's sword strike that pierced his spiritual core beforehand, Lancer's giant spear delivered a strike by surprise. Archer unleashed countless arrows from where he hid in the dark forest, and Ryder, revealing himself from his flying bark, brought down a light of death. This seemingly endless projection of magical energy raining down from above shattered the mad beast, wiping it from the face of the earth. In its final moments, it clawed its hand toward the night sky. What did that mean? Even now, Saber did not know for certain. He never learned its true name. All he had to go off of was the conjecture that it was most likely the Berserker. They never exchanged words. He remembered only its form and its way of being. Its savage courage, its madness, its certain purity, which never once turned its back, trying to confront several servants at once, but like the crystallization of fleeting beauty and proud dignity. Are we going through how each of them died? Oh, wait, this is kind of cool. The great flash of light. A single shooting star. A second memory replayed. The image of the God King and the bowman clashing during the decisive battle over Tokyo Bay. Ryder had not been witnessed within the temple. Ryder had not been witnessed within the temple. Saber got an... Let's add a though there. I see what it's saying. Though Saber had not been witnessed within the temple, Ryder had not been witnessed within the temple, Saber had gotten a clear view of him twice before the battle. First, at the Reirukon Manor when Berserker met his end, and second at a park near the Seijo residence, where he encountered Lancer alongside Manaka. The God King reigned over the night sky with divine beast sphinxes at his command. You know what? I'm going to give that a title. We're going to make that be a proper title. The God King, yes. He spoke thusly. Goddess who devours the world, knight that seeks to protect her. Tonight I have learned what I must do in this era. I have come to slaughter you. He spoke while looking at the girl, Manaka. Ozymandias. Proclaiming his true name aloud, Ryder declared, For justice, to scorch all that is wicked, this capital of the Far East and all within it. When Saber asked if the words rang true, Manaka had returned an ambiguous smile, saying that as long as the Holy Grail War went on, it was only natural that the other heroic spirits would see her as an enemy. Saber believed her. No, he recognized that the words were true in a sense, and yet could not help but recognize something else being kept hidden behind them. Seijo Manaka, the girl who was Saber's master. Within her was something that could not be expressed by the phrase genius magus. The fact became evident when, even assassin, or after assassin, the phrase became evident when, after assassin, when even Castra chose to submit to her command. It was not in Saber's ability as a servant to grasp it. She seemed to have some sort of charisma or power beyond what mere magical energy was capable of. He lamented his own lack of skill in perception and investigation. He did not have much time to focus on Manaka. I have made my decision. Wicked thing that would devour the planet itself. By my glory, might and the glory of the gods, I shall burn it all away. Again, I like God King capitalized because that's a proper title for him, right? You know what? I'm going to go, here we go, check this out. We're going to go with format, where's find and replace? Tools, proofread, no, where's find and replace? I know you have it. I know you have find and replace. Control F. Here we go. We'll go God King. All right. So yeah. Oh, there's only one more. Okay, we're good after this then. All right. There's only one more. Not that he would appear more. Okay. The God King declared that he would reduce Tokyo to ash along with its 10 million citizens, then materialize something capable of fulfilling such a grandiose proclamation. It was a colossal structure that appeared over Tokyo Bay, the Great Temple Complex, Remisium Tenteris, a pinnacle of mystery, spoken of in the world of Magi as a reality marble, and perhaps Ryder's most powerful noble phantasm. He had too little time left. Far too little time left. The God King's noble phantasm sat above the bay, and all of Tokyo was its target. And so, Saber charged into the great temple alone. Regardless of Ryder's true intentions, regardless of Manaka's true nature, he could not allow so many people who were not only unrelated to the Holy Grail War, but completely innocent bystanders to be killed. It was a natural judgment, an inevitable action. Action. Solo. No. Unexpected reinforcements arrived in form of cooperation from Archer and Lancer. Lancer disappeared into the temple's grand corridor, but Archer and Saber fought together. Even as they regenerated endlessly due to some special effect of the temple, they destroyed the stone divine beasts one after another. And then he saw it. The arrow of salvation. Only half of the 13 restraints on his own blade had been released. Yeah, okay, we get that for sure. Preventing the holy sword from unleashing its true power. And yet, Archer stood right at his side, poised to strike. He had poured all of his strength, spirit, and everything he had into unleashing his true name. His incomplete holy sword would never be enough to defeat either Ozymandias within his own personal reality marble, nor could it shadow the light coming from the great Dendera light bulb in the temple's inner sanctum. He knew this to be true. Archer's strike, though, that single shot, with a true name worthy of being called a special move, combined with the light of his holy sword, that was able to intercept the lightning, destroy the inner sanctum, and generate enough power to cause the reality marble, great temple complex, to collapse. Stella! He had heard tell of his fame from Sir Palamedes, one of the knights of the Round Table, an arrow that split the earth. Only one man on this earth could have achieved such a feat. Okay, we're talking about the planet. Namely, the great hero of the East, the peerless bowman of Persia, the man who ended the long war between the Persians and the Turks without bloodshed. With his great bow, he accomplished a miracle. That's 2 words, great bow, not a great bow in this case. True name, Arash Kamangir. People praised him as a bowman, for what he did was right. People praised him as a bowman who did what was right. With his final act, Saber was struck by his very being. For Archer, a hero of salvation, to achieve his noble phantasm, unleash his noble phantasm without hesitation, to choose self-destruction. Yes, just as the ancient legend said, when the bowman fired his supernatural arrow, his body shattered into countless fragments. The act of offering up his invincible flesh, immune to all disease and poison and unscathed by any battlefield wounds, was what produced the meteor with a maximum range exceeding 2,500 kilometers. Some legends from later generations say have survived, but, well, that's about it. This is me, the real Arash Kamangir. As the temple collapsed, Archer spoke. His legs, arms, body, and chest all began to crack and vanish. Listen to me, Saber. His voice was trembling. His lungs had surely been shattered. You are just. His neck had split open. The people of Tokyo, well, I guess under normal circumstances, they'd have nothing to do with us. His words most likely wouldn't reach anyone's ears. Still, though, they're innocent people. What difference is there between them and the loved ones we once lived to protect? His voice mingled with the roar of the temple's collapse. This is as far as I go. Hey, King of Knights who wields his shining sword in glory. What is your wish for the Holy Grail? The words he spoke as he vanished completely had reached Saber's ears. Brilliant jade, blue flames. A third memory replayed. The form of the beautiful Lancer with her enormous spear. Their first encounter was in Ikebukuro, near the foot of the towering skyscraper known as Sunshine 60. Her figure as she wielded her spear, so large that its blade could be mistaken for a shield, seemed like a waking dream, a fantasy from some sort of fairy tale. The impression remained in their second and third encounters. A fragile maiden, a spearwoman whose skill was masterful yet always seemed to harbor some amount of hesitation. She is troubled. She always seemed to be troubled by something. But at the very end, 3 nights after the decisive battle at the temple over Tokyo Bay. Oh, that's a shot. Holy crap. Everyone's shattered weapons. Oh, that's cool. She seemed completely different when they met on the roof of the commercial building near JR Asagaya Station. Her aura had become so intense that it could be called alien, and yet she still seems somewhat different from the unique presence of a heroic spirit. It reminded Saber of the supernatural beings he once caught glimpses of during the days of constant struggle when he still was called king. The Lady of the Lake, the inner sea of the planet, Avalon. Not the mystery of a demonic beast ravaging the land and the people like a storm, but the scent of something more sacred. Or perhaps was it closer to Lancer's true nature? The question slipped from his lips, but there was no reply. Then that's her laughing. With a piercing roar, Lancer raised her massive spear, which had swollen to such an abnormal, monstrous size that could hardly even be compared to the one from their first battle, and charged. The strike seemed to cleave the air itself, a barrage of rapid strikes blazing blue flames of extreme heat. Jaws of death enveloped in flame, bearing down upon him. It evoked the wrath of the ancient gods themselves. So, this is the extent of her power. Astonishment, and yet another part of him understood. It was not unusual for his master, Manaka, to disappear somewhere alone with, alone, or with caster or assassin, but unusually, on this night there had been a silent message. She was planning to take down Lancer, the final enemy faction that night. I managed to deal with the master, but Lancer is too much. I could never kill her. Her tone was just as it always was. Even speaking without a voice, her composure was utterly unshaken. In fact, she might even be able to kill me. Surely she was joking, but Saber did not respond as such. Though he was not familiar with the affairs peculiar to the hidden world of Magi, but relying on the knowledge... Though he was not familiar with the affairs peculiar to the hidden world of Magi, but relying on the knowledge granted him by the Holy Grail and recollections of Merlin's words, Saber recognized that Seijo Manaka was pure genius. Against an ordinary servant, she probably would have been able to handle them one-on-one with ease, but... I really don't want to ask this of you, Saber, since your wounds only just healed. Manaka never lied. Even if she was hiding something, she never uttered false words. Her faith in that fact was powerful. Whether that was true with other people, he couldn't say, but toward him at least the girl did not lie. Yes, just like Agravain. Even if there was plotting behind the scenes, it was never betrayal. All was for the sake of some noble goal. For Agravain, it was for Britain. And for Manaka, whatever it was true. Since Assassin and Caster were still with Manaka, that meant the only thing that could defeat Lancer was his holy sword. Archer, who hailed as one of the other knight classes, the mighty rider, and even the formidable Berserker were all gone. He could understand the logic, but an uncomfortable feeling overwhelmed him. Why had Lancer's aura, her actions and words become so alien? What was the reason for this swirling madness? There's no one who I love this strongly, this intensely. Sigurd. No one. Hey, Sigurd. Sigurd. You are confused. I did slay a dragon, but I am not the man you speak of. I am... And then she laughs. It wasn't as if he couldn't comprehend the words. Leaping across one rooftop after another, they reached the Shinjuku New City district in minutes flat. I was waiting for a number. On the rooftop of the Shinjuku Sumitomo building, 230 meters above the ground, the two clashed violently once more. Lancer's massive spear, already over 5,000 kilograms, sliced through part of the rooftop and the air itself, carving a massive trail of flame into the night sky with one mighty swing. Powerful. The difference in caliber compared to their last crossing of blades was stark. After several exchanges of blows, Lancer clearly held the upper hand. Right. Indeed, no matter how deep Manaka's mastery of several schools of magecraft was, no matter how many subordinates were at her command, facing a servant who specialized in close combat to this degree would have been a losing battle. Beyond that, it seemed that Lancer's current parameters, including her magic resistance skill, had surged dramatically. Swift, heavy, powerful. To be enhanced to this degree, it was extraordinary. Was it the true name release of an unknown noble phantasm? Manaka had mentioned that she had activated her primordial rune, but to see a once long-lost magic crest from the Age of Gods have this much power could only astonish him. I'll kill you. I'll kill. Lancer! Yes? At Ryder's Temple, you said that you sought a conclusion through a battle fought with pride. He cried out, clinging to his memories. Power didn't matter. If she was exposing her trump card like this, he would respond to the very end, but what was this madness? This raging soul that seemed to surpass even Berserker, why? Why had she gone so mad? Why did she roar like this? Freya. Her answer was a boulder vast enough to cover the night sky, enveloped in blue flame, a colossal mass that concealed terrifying magical energy. It bore the name of the goddess who ruled Venus. Okay. It bore the name of the goddess who ruled Venus. Could the boulder be a fragment of a star summoned from beyond the heavens, or perhaps a star itself? I'm going to change that to sure. Right? Even if it wouldn't reach all of Tokyo, it would certainly take tens of thousands of lives if it impacted the Earth's surface. Now, Sigurd. Why? Why kill the people of Tokyo, Lancer Brunhilder? I will kill. I will kill. I will kill them all. You know what you must do, Saber. His words fell on deaf ears. Had the Spear Maiden's soul already been consumed by flames of madness? In that case, there was only one thing left for him to do. With invisible air released, his holy sword, with a thrust, he poured all of his magical energy he had left into his golden blade, into her chest. He thrust. One thrust. Splendid. What spilled from Lancer's eyes then? That thing, lurking within the greater grail. We must not allow it to be born. The afterglow of surging magical energy, fragments of her thoughts, the world, tears, or fresh blood. Just as you said, Manaka. Sitting by the window in the seaside cafe, Saber opened his eyes. In the reflection of his pupils was a girl clad in emerald green. After a moment of pause, he went on, thinking of the 4 servants whose temporary existences had already died, the hero who vanished into the light with pride, the hero who sought to turn Tokyo to ash in the name of some personal sense of justice, the hero who crumbled to protect the innocent, the hero who trusted him with the world while succumbing to flames of madness. The Holy Grail is formed of human desires. Alas, what mankind craves most is not benevolence. It is the malice called desire. Saber stated a stark truth. That was precisely why the Holy Grail War existed. The reason that the Greater Grail, the centerpiece of the ritual, existed not as a holy relic that brought the glory of its lord, but as an omnipotent wish-granting device. The reason the Mage Association... That should be double capital, right? I think so. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, right? I'm going to double check that, because now I don't know. Mages Association Fate. I'm double checking. In my brain it is, but it's always better to double check. It's double capital. Cool. So let's go Control F. Let's go find Mages Association. And we're going to go to match case. Go with that. No. Are they all good now? 4 of 8? Okay, they're all good now. Right? They seem to be. Yeah, they're all good now. Cool. Anyways, the reason that the Greater Grail, the centerpiece of the ritual, existed not as a holy relic that brought about its Lord creation, existed not as a holy relic that brought the glory of its lord, but as an omnipotent wish-granting device. The reason that the Mage Association gave their full cooperation, and Magi living with their own worldviews all came to challenge one another in battles to the death, because it accumulated the desires of all mankind, because it accumulated too much of something unholy, the Holy Grail had, in a sense, become corrupted. The Holy Grail could no longer perform true miracles. The fulfillment of desires, not miracles bestowed by the Lord from on high. The Holy Grail was mad from its inception. Even so, in his body, within Saber, a single wish still remained, even now. Even in the far-flung 20th century, separated by the ages, an unchanging resolve remained. It had to be fulfilled. No matter how much blood needed to be spilled from others who had gathered around the Holy Grail, others who harbored their own desperate wishes, the moment they answered the call, the moment they manifested in the world, they had already accepted their fates. However, the world, yes, Lancer spoke of it. Her last words spoken as she vanished into particles of magical energy. He did not believe that the madness had made her say it. In that moment, at the very least, Lancer's utterance was surely true. Just like Berserker before her, his reason to believe this was her eyes. Intuition born of experience, not logic or theory. He knew those eyes. He had seen them more times than he could count. Those eyes, entrusting him with a wish on the brink of death, held pure innocence. He could never forget them. No matter how many times his body perished, even if he were to be reincarnated an infinite number of times, as long as soul endured, he would never forget. Therefore, one could say that his body as Saber was incorporated into the Holy Grail itself. My wish is the same, but... Saber questioned himself. What if the so-called Greater Grail, brought to lay beneath the far east, was the very same evil that corrupted this world? Without a word, the Sky Silver Knight closed his eyes once more, to gaze on more memories. We're going back in time, a long distant era, and yet the same days of war that lay beside us all. Memories of the past reborn, memories of Britain as it once was. Approximately 1,500 years in the past, in the 5th century, the island of Britain was overcome by fierce turmoil. Swept up in the shifting tides of the decline of the world's mightiest empire, the great historical phenomenon of the migration period had found its way to Britain. Specifically, the Saxons had crossed the sea for their survival. But Britain only had a finite amount of land, and so conflict inevitably arose with those who had lived on the island since the Imperial Age, or even before then. Invaders and indigenous people. It could be described as a tragic encounter. The people of Britain fought the Saxons to live, to survive. The enemy did not always come from beyond. The Picts, inhabiting the land that would become Scotland. With their formidable physiques, they were a foreign people so powerful they would sometimes be called giants, a people brimming with fighting spirit who attacked many times. Moreover, the force of Britain, steeped in mystery even compared to the main continent, let's say more steeped in mystery, right? To make it more clear, more steeped in mystery, even compared to the main continent. And the rich mountains and fields beside them were home to many large man-eating beasts. Saxons from across the sea, giants on the island, and monstrous beasts. The various tribes ruling different parts of Britain were not united, leading to frequent conflicts close enough to be called internal strife. Violence ravaged the land. Villages burned, fields trampled, countless lives lost. Peace was gone from their homeland. Even the knights brave enough to slay giants and beasts often fell to the fury of Saxons were a manifestation of the Great Migration. Though each individual may have been powerless, together they could overcome beasts. As a great army, they could even slay heroes. Of course, heroes were not always caught unawares. Mighty knights and kings, each worth 1,000 men, continued to resist the Saxons, giants, and beasts. Raging forces clashed across Britain without relent, and the strife went on. It seemed as if there was never a day that went by without bloodshed. Some claim that Britain's future had been sealed in darkness from the day the great King Uther was defeated by the traitorous Vortigern, who conspired with the Saxons to unify the land. He, who would go on to exist as Saber in Tokyo of 1991 AD, ascended to the throne as Uther's successor, the next king of Britain in the midst of this dark age. He drew the sword of selection, Caliburn, from the stone, just as the Magus known as King Uther's advisor had prophesied, to become the ideal king, to save Britain, to protect many, and at the same time, surely kill many more. You've chosen a difficult path, the beautiful Merlin said with a troubled look. He still remembered the words. He had resolved long ago, and so he did not waver. He understood that he drew the sword to face hardship, to sacrifice everything for his people, to abandon his humanity and become the only king. Drawing the sword, he became the new king of Britain, Arthur Pendragon, the king beyond men, prophesied by Merlin as the red dragon who would protect Britain. And then, some time after his ascension to the throne, perhaps it could be said that it was after several battles when his name as the new king began to resonate across the land. Morgan Le Fay, the true daughter of King Uther, his own sister, and yet she not only refused to cooperate, but actively laid traps for him. It was through her schemes that he lost the Sword of Selection, just after he received the Holy Sword of the Stars from the Lady of the Lake. I wonder if that should be Holy Sword of the Planet. Right? Because Hoshi. I think because usually we call it, right? Because Excalibur, Holy Sword of the Planet, right? Let's see here. Because if we actually give it a read, does it have the name Holy Sword of the... They don't actually list it on there. I'm going to assume that it's when it's Holy... Because, again, Hoshi means that. I'm going to say that's Holy Sword of the Planet, actually. Right? Holy Sword of the Planet there. That just makes sense. Because, again, that's where it comes from, right? So after he received the Holy Sword of the Planet from the Lady of the Lake, hearing rumors that a band of Saxons under the vile King Vortigern's rule had appeared in the northern borderlands, he rode out with a small group of knights and crushed the foreign warriors as he always did. His body, which harbored the heart of a true dragon, was like that. Oh, you know what? Should we do true dragon capitalized? Because like that's a key thing. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna right? Because that's a different thing. A true dragon is a specific thing, right? Maybe. You know what? I'm gonna maybe put a thing for that for should we do that, right? I'll maybe do this one too. I'll put comments for those after. Okay. His body, which harbored the heart of a true dragon, was like that of a warrior from the Age of Gods. In mere seconds, he cut down dozens of warriors. The cheers that erupted came from his knights and retainers. The unearthly shrieks and cries came from the enemy. It was a one-sided battle. But beyond the enemy's screams, he heard something. Someone's voice. Dismounting his horse, he sprinted faster than it. Oh, faster than his horse. I'm like, dismounting his horse, he sprinted faster than it to find the source of the voice. There he saw it. Beyond the forest lay a settlement utterly destroyed. The once idyllic landscape was gone. Houses were shattered and set ablaze. Fields were dyed crimson with the blood of villagers who had most likely fled in terror. No living soul yet moved. Even the livestock had been slaughtered. It was not the bloodshed of a battlefield. It was the ruin of a one-sided massacre. Had the Saxon warriors wrought this? With a chill running through his entire body, he managed to hold his ground. Without letting rage overwhelm him, he searched for survivors. By the time his knights arrived behind him, he had found a single survivor. A child. Well, it's kind of like an Emi Shiro moment. I don't know if this is from an actual historical, I don't know if it's actually from, King Arthur legend, or if this is, a crazy parallel with Shiro. Huh. Trapped inside when the house was set ablaze, caught in the collapse, wounded by the very home that was meant to protect his family, his entire body was badly bruised, limbs were clearly broken, his internal organs clearly damaged. The fact that he was conscious was a miracle. The child was near death. Held in his arms, he spoke. Unmistakably, same voice that he had heard moments ago. The words were the same as well. My king. Pendragon, my king. The words, spun like a delirious murmur, did not come from knowing that the man who held him was King Arthur. As death approached him, the child was trying to speak not to the Lord, but to his king. I don't mind dying. What are you saying? You shan't die. Indeed, I, King Arthur, shall not allow you to die. And your majesty... His words no longer reached the boy. The crimson flowing from his ears told of damage to his cochlea. It's a fun word to say out loud. My sister, my mom, my dad, everyone. His sister too. His mother too, his father too. They had already lost their lives, consumed by the flames. Not knowing this, the child's prayer went on. Protect protect them all. As a child died, he wished for his family's love and peace. Hoping for the salvation of his family and friends through his own sacrifice, Arthur Pendragon responded with silence, deeply, quietly, conscious of what a king ought to do. To save Britain, to protect the people from hardship and suffering, I shall establish a righteous place where the innocent may find peace, an eternal kingdom. In the years that follow, even in days of endless battle, he still will be remembered. The wicked King Vortigern. The white dragon? I thought it was the black dragon. Wait, what? Huh? Wait, what? Vortigern, white dragon? Am I crazy? Was Vortigern the white dragon? Oh, Vortigern was said to be... I thought it was the black dragon. No, that is correct. Never mind. We're good. That was absolutely just me misremembering. I forgot that. Okay. Wicked King Vortigern, the White Dragon. Even the decisive battle against the declining empire in the final clash with the traitor Mordred. I assume Mordred is actually male in this universe. Right? Oh, that's not how you spell his name. King Arthur. Right? Camlin Hill. A hill littered with countless dead. Even standing at death's door, he, King Arthur, continued his demand. Wounds and pain were his alone. He could not relinquish them, even if the enemy was his lord. And above all else, his life itself may end. It mattered not. His soul desired but one thing, the salvation of his homeland, Britain. Never again shall a child offer up their life. Not on this earth. Oops, Warth. Please, upon this earth, again, I like capital E for earth and capital H for hell, bring salvation. Yeah, kind of a Shiro moment, really. It really is. All right. That was Act 1. Again, I find it easier to edit these if I do them separately. And plus, I'm going on vacation soon, so I'm going to need many videos. So we'll do that there. So, all right, guys, thank you for listening. Again, feel free to leave any feedback you have on my readings here of stuff that you disagree with, agree with, all that good stuff. And we'll be back to read Act 2 pretty quickly. So I'll see you guys then for that. Ciao. Yo.